This video is brought to you by Patterson Car Care. Get double the premium detail product for half the price. Head over to pattersoncarcare.com or go to the link in the description below. This might be, to go down in That Dude in Blue history, the most red car ever. And it's also one of the strangest cars I'm ever going to review. So, I know you're asking, David, why on earth would you pick that car for a car review? And I like weird cars that people build. This is a 2017 Chevy Cruze. And the Chevy Cruze is a car that has a really crazy history when it comes to platforming. The Chevy Cruze is a car that came out and not everybody pretty much knew what to do with it. This Chevy Cruze is completely modified. A phrase I thought I would never say in my entire life. This has a fully custom done up red interior. It's upholstered, even the door panels are red, the steering wheel is red. It's just red everywhere. This also has 21 pounds of boost going through the smallest turbo I think I might have ever seen, and a burble tune. Hear what it sounds like. "21 pounds of boost through this tiny little 1.4 liter engine. Oh my God! It's able to do that. It has a burble tune by B&R, and also it has a side exit exhaust with no catalytic converters and no exhaust. It comes straight out of the motor, out of the fender. This is like a snare drum in a drum line. Like, you're going everywhere and it's just like, all right, ready? Tap. I can't stop laughing. Even has a B&R tuning software to where if it ever shows a code for everything that's going on, you can clear it on the spot. I just did that. We also have heat wrap underneath in the engine bay. We also have a few other things to keep the heat down, because you have to remember, with this tiny, tiny turbocharger, he is stressing this thing out. Like, it is going through college final exams every time you floor it. It's barely in boost. Can you hear it? It literally sounds like I have a tire leak. I was really worried for a second, but as soon as my big toe lets off the gas, it is blowing off at how much PSI? Let's take a look. 3 PSI. Every time I hear it burble and crackle, I think there's something wrong with the car, because you can feel the vibration coming from the front of the car. And I was like, please don't be that guy. Oh my goodness. So the owner of the Chevy Cruze went to go look at a Camaro, and unfortunately he had a hard time trying to get it at the dealership. So they said, here, we'll give you a deal for a Chevy Cruze. He just got out of the military, he wanted something new, and he ended up with this. Now, when it comes to the use what you got policy, this one is next level. It has a carbon fiber lip. It has a carbon fiber hood. Actually, it's just wrapped. Sorry to disappoint. This thing is making about 210 wheel horsepower. When it was time to film his car today, I could hear him from literally a mile away. By the way, if you like weird and quirky builds, he actually has a YouTube channel, and I'll put it in the link in the description. Whoa! It's also on Godspeed coilovers, and that's why it's able to get the stance that it's at. That's why it sits so low. Surprisingly, I'm not getting any rubbing whatsoever, even with the big tire and wheel setup. Oh, it stops on a dime though. What's really interesting is that this car actually gets mistaken for a Honda Civic a lot from the side profile. People see a slammed car, and you can kind of tell with the modern Civic headlights, everything like that. You can definitely see if somebody can make that mistake at first glance. But it's got a bow tie on it. How can you possibly miss it? I don't know. People are weird. What makes this car so interesting is just how little the turbocharger is. It is so mind-blowing that he's able to push 21 pounds of boost through this thing and it not absolutely destroy itself. And with it being a 1.4 liter engine, that's just bananas. When you pop the hood, it's a 4-cylinder, right? It's just super, super low displacement, and it's able to make all these noises. But acceleration-wise, is it fast? Not really. But the owner has a G35 for that. He's doing a boosted G35 as his fast project, and this is his fun daily driver project. He took this as a daily driver and completely transformed it how he wanted. Now, would I do the red interior? I'm not quite sure. It's not for everybody, but I appreciate the effort that's put into this thing. It's a Chevy Cruze. Nobody ever looks at these as platforms to modify, ever. So believe it or not, originally the platform the Chevy Cruze was on a Suzuki, and the Cruze name has been pretty much everywhere. In Australia, it was called the Holden Cruze, but that was sourced from an Opel. The Cruze was also under the name Daewoo as well, and it was an extremely fancy name. I think it was called the Daewoo Premier off the top of my head, but they eventually dropped the Daewoo name in Asia and just named it the Cruze again. So this car's brand has been in this on-off relationship with itself with different brand names for years. And also the cars are built in the United States and in Mexico. So it's a very universal car. There's a lot of things going on to build this car. And I remember when this Cruze came out, they tried to appeal to the youth. They tried to appeal to like making it a customizable car. You just never see it though. It's kind of like Scion. Scion marketed itself as a youthful customizable car. You just didn't see it that often actually done. I thought this car is gonna be like an in and out boost mess, but it's got some torque behind it. Is it gonna rock everybody's socks off? No, but it's an entertaining car. I hate to say it, but it is. Cars like this, like the Maxima I did, that was a sleeper. 1, 2, 3. And also the Volvo C30 I just did, which you could call a sleeper. They're just so neat to drive because people's imaginations are just running wild, and they go, you know what? I might not have a cool car in the public eye, but I can make something work. It's funny because this thing, when you're driving it around, it goes from full race car with the crackles and pops to turbocharged car that makes blow-off noises and sounds. Then it goes to tractor. Because I've actually rented one of these bone stock just on a road trip, and I was like, yeah, it's a car, it gets me around. Never in a million years did I think that something like this would be possible. One-handed, and the car has virtually no torque steer. Absolutely none, since it's front wheel drive. Nah. Also, if you're wondering why his front lip is completely split in the front, the poor guy hit a deer. He hit Bambi. And it's really interesting that there's even a culture around cars like the Cruze, because the Cruze is technically a sibling of the Ecotec family, and there are people that tune them. But there's few and far between. When it comes to this, not a lot of people bother with this platform because it's just so out there. I think it's just because people couldn't quite figure out what the Cruze was for. Is it supposed to be in the same realm as the Malibu? Is it supposed to be a sports compact like the Cobalt or Cobalt SS? Is it supposed to be any of those things? And I really don't even think Chevy knew what it was for. Eventually, Chevy Cruzes ended up just being rental cars most of the time. This thing going up a hill, it's like, please don't make me. The interior is fairly comfortable, and the back seat's pretty roomy. 2 adults could sit back there, no problem, if you care about that stuff. The materials in the Cruze are exactly what you expect. The interior of the Cruze is exactly what you expect. In this price range, it's not going to be competing with a Bentley anytime soon. It's just not supposed to. It's not the role of the car. I never thought in my entire life I would see a titanium side exit exhaust Chevy Cruze. And you know what? I'm glad I had the opportunity. Let's have a little recap here. Is the car a complete package, modified wise? Yes. Is the car turbocharged, and does that make the car better? Yes. Is the car fast? No. Is it supposed to be? No. Because Chevy, when they built this car, performance wasn't really on their mind. I think they just wanted to make the car a little bit more exciting for a daily driver commute. What do you guys think of this build? Do you think it was a waste of time? Or do you appreciate what he did with the car? Even if it's not your taste or style, do you appreciate the effort that was put in to this build? I'd love to hear your guys' opinion in the comment section below. And along with that, if you're interested, I have a detail brand called Patterson Car Care. It is premium detail product for half the price, saves you money, and it's an original formula, so you won't be disappointed. And along with that, I have a private Discord server down below in the description if you are interested. And on that note, I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and I will see you guys next time. Give me some paps. Give me some paps. Give me some paps.